I've got some bad news for people who don't travel internationally. The world hates us. Okay. We're not the big dogs. We don't have the clout that we once had. We aren't even like statistically on top of anything, education or anything anymore. And I've traveled a lot internationally over COVID. Obviously, I stopped. And there's always been an underlying tone that America is dangerous. But, we run Hollywood. So a lot of the media that is consumed by people in other countries is still American. However, I'm on my first international trip since COVID, and it has gotten worse. I have heard from every nationality that America is dangerous, but I arrived in Indonesia, which is a country that, a lot of people aim to get out of and go to America. And the first thing that my taxi driver says to me is that he's afraid of America because of all the poppy seeds that we're taking and all the jazz powder that people are using. And he's convinced that people are walking around the US like zombies because that's what's on the internet. That's what these people are seeing. And I think it's a really big lesson if you are sheltered and are not leaving the US. We don't got it. Like, we don't got it anymore. People don't want to live in America. People aren't eager to live in America. When I was in Europe, a lot of the kids said their parents wouldn't let them go to America because they were afraid they were going to get popped by the.
First off, she's making a lot of great points, but this is clearly the narrative from a white female from the United States. So some although the points she's making are valid, it only applies to a certain amount of people here in the United States. And then her tone, she just used pop pop. That's I'm not gonna say racist, but it's a tone that only white people use that have a disconnect from the black community here in the United States. And her lens is from a white woman's lens. And everything that she's saying is right. Even the Indian guy, whoever it was that was a taxi cab driver, if he had gotten in the same vehicle or picked up a white man or a black man, or as long as it was American and wasn't a white female, his response or his tone towards her would have been totally different.
Police. Like, those are the fears. The only fear that Americans have when their children travel overseas is that they're going to be like in the movie Taken, which is a very small possibility. And they just use that as a fear. I don't even like that's not really even a founded fear. People aren't taking Americans when we go because you know how big of a hell case they would raise if some little white girl went missing?
And there it go. Like it has to be a white girl. The reason why they was gonna raise hell if someone was taken. Bottom line is black people, anybody from the United States has a chance of being kidnapped or killed or something happening to them when they leave the country just because they are an American. And when you get outside of in these rural countries like Venezuela or even Mexico, they do not care anything about you being white. That's the last thing they're worried about. If it's a moment of opportunity, they're going to take it. But this is, in my opinion, exactly what she is. No disrespect, but this is a white female's perspective on what's going on around the world. And her true point, in my opinion, is true. Like the stuff that's going on and people abroad and other countries abroad do not like Americans. They don't care for us. It is what it is. But I think her view is a narrow view because it's coming from a young white female that doesn't have an open mind or a broader perspective on what's going on in the world outside of her bubble or her white bubble.
Not what's happening. But what is happening is other people from other nations are going to America and bad things are happening to them. So just a reminder, we ain't shit. We ain't shit. America.
They are coming to America to look for work and jobs. And about the only bad thing that's happening to them now is they are getting deported and sent back up out of the country because our current administration don't want them here. So that's another thing I disagree with. It is a lot safer for immigrants to come over here than to stay in a third world or a low level developing country. So that's another misconception that I just personally don't believe in. That's not true at all.
America is not what it once was. I've got some bad news for people who don't travel internationally. The world hates us. Okay? We're not the big dogs. We don't have the clout that we once had.
Bottom line is the US is just a massive propaganda tool, and it's used to misguide people in what's really going on here in the country. But if you take, for instance, the current administration, they basically are alienating us from the rest of the world. So, when you jump up and decide to bully and pick and poke at every other country in the world, we already were the number one hated and envied country in the world. Now we are picking fights with all the other countries. It's going to get worse and worse for Americans that decide to travel outside of the country, that want to just go and work abroad or travel, go have a good time. It's a lot of countries that have, as of late, canceled our visas, but her overall concept for this video was true. I think she done a great job, but it shedded a light on her perspective from a white female living in America with certain privileges or certain advantages or even possibly disadvantages to being white in America. She is true on a lot of stuff, but I disagree with her perspective because of it doesn't reach a broader perspective of every American living in this world. Nonetheless, like, subscribe, please hit the notification button, and I will see you all on the next video.